Today we're going to talk about this week's discussion forum topic. We're in discussion forum 4. Now, before we move on to the page where we will go through the details of the discussion topic, the prompt and the instructions for your original post and your peer reply, I wanted to do a little bit of a recap of what we've covered so far so that, at least I hope, what we talk about in this overview will help situate your thinking and will remind you of some of the important concepts and skills that we've been discussing thus far. So we know what an argument is, we know what the parts of an argument are, we know how to present an argument in standard form, we know how to summarize an argument, we also know how to evaluate an argument. Specifically, we know the difference between validity and invalidity, soundness and unsoundness on the one hand, and on the other, we know the difference between strength and weakness and cogency and uncogency. Now, we're working in categorical logic. So for this week's discussion forum, the topic is taken from categorical propositions. So think about the kind of the deep dive that we're doing. We started with the broad concept of an argument, and then we talked about the difference between evaluation concepts on the one side, validity and invalidity, as well as soundness and unsoundness, and strength and weakness, and cogency and uncogency. So now what we're doing is we're going to shift our attention exclusively to the evaluation concepts, validity and invalidity, within the domain or system of logic known as categorical logic. So we begin our discussion of categorical logic with a discussion of categorical propositions, right? And one of the ways in which we talk about a categorical proposition is in terms of what the subject class of a universal claim asserts. So that's the focus of this week's discussion forum. Okay, now as we move forward, we will talk about inferences from one categorical proposition to another, and then we'll move into the study of categorical syllogisms before moving on to another system of deductive logic. At that point, we will we'll end our study of deductive logic, and we will move into a study of inductive logic. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this week's discussion prompt and the instructions for both for your original post and your peer reply. Here we are in discussion forum 4. We are working in categorical logic. More specifically, we are beginning the discussion of a categorical proposition. So recall that a categorical proposition contains a quantifier, that is, a universal or particular quantifier. It is also affirmative or negative, and it relates classes of things or groups of things, sets or categories of things. So, for example, the universal affirmative claim, all horses are equines, relates the entirety of the horse class to the equine class. On the other hand, the sentence or the categorical proposition, some dogs are not pit bulls, is a particular negative claim that relates the class of dogs to the class of pit bulls. Now, what I'm asking you to do here is to talk about the difference between assuming and not assuming existential import. Recall that existential import is the term we use for assuming that at least one member of the subject class exists. So when we're talking about the claim all horses are equines, we're talking about the class of horses as the subject class, and we either assume or don't assume existential import, which is to say, we either assume or don't assume that there is at least one member of the subject class, namely, there is at least one horse. We do not have to, in fact, we can't assume existential import for the particular claim, because particular claims already assert the existence of at least one thing. When we say, for example, some dogs are not pit bulls, we're saying there is at least one thing, it's a dog, and it's not a pit bull. There is no assuming existential import because the existence of at least one dog is expressed in the claim itself. Let's chat for a moment about the peer reply instructions. I will ask you on multiple occasions to substantively engage with your classmates' posts. And what I mean by that is to discuss what they've written in a way that that doesn't simply say, yeah, that was really good, or I really appreciated what you said, or you helped improve my understanding, or something like that. You need to talk about the concepts. So if you're going to say something like, wow, I hadn't thought of this, what you said, in the way, I haven't thought of the concept the way that you did, the way that you talked about it was really helpful, and then say a bit about what they said, right? Explain a bit about what happened in your thinking such that what they did resonated with you or illuminated something for you, right? So you're going to go beyond the, nice job comment and actually address the substance of what your peer has written.